Okay, Seaside here, and before we start, I was quite frustrated from the last game, and I say something to my opponent here, which was born out of frustration. You'll see it on screen soon. It isn't anything bad. I was just telling him, like, I hope you don't get so fortunate as you did in the previous game so far. Well, previous game really. So um, I would like to apologize to my opponent. It was a comment born out of frustration. So though it may not have been the worst thing in the world to say to someone, came from a bad place. So I apologize to my opponent for that, and I apologize to the viewers for having to present something so distasteful. And him opening 5-2 on a wharf board just set me off even more. Anyways, this is the Seaside set. We have Wharf on board. There's Sea Hag, no trashing, but there is defense and Lighthouse. Smugglers is usually a good card. So how do you want to go about this? Well, I saw him go 5-2, right? And I wasn't sure if he would buy Lighthouse or Native Village on the 2. I think if it was me, I would have gone for the Native Village over the Lighthouse. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But anyways, I also want to get up to Wharf as quickly as possible. I believe the engine Native Village Wharf thing is very, very strong, very, very powerful. And if you get 2 or 3 lighthouses with the engine up, that'll be sufficient protection from the Sea Hag. So I'm not going to be too bothered about the lighthouse immediately, especially seeing as how he doesn't open with the Sea Hag, right? He prefers to open with the Wharf, which is obviously the better thing, and the lighthouse over the Native Village here. So I do open with the Sea Hag, even though he opens with lighthouse. Maybe that should have been silver, cut purse, not cut purse, silver. But I still go for the Sea Hag. He only has the one lighthouse. I expect to be able to jam at least that curse into him at some point. I don't be just $4 down the drain. So I am able to get to Wharf, which is good for me, and he gets his lighthouse down in time here, so the Sea Hag is not going to go through. Of course, I'm not going to show it to him, right? I don't want him to know where my Sea Hag is, so it could be in the next 2 cards. He doesn't know, right? He'll have to be thinking about that. So I do pick up the excuse me, Native Village. At this point, I don't see him going for Sea Hag, so if he doesn't go for Sea Hag, then there's no need for me to buy Lighthouse at all. I could concentrate on building the engine and not have to put that stop card in my deck. However, now he picks up the Sea Hag on 8 and 2 buys. Could be another Native Village for him here. Or not another a Native Village, but instead he goes for 2 Sea Hags. So, I mean, people usually recommend you don't go for double Sea Hag, because at the end of the day, when these creatures are gone, there's 2 cards in your deck that just does absolutely nothing, or very, very little for you anyway. But he goes for the double Sea Hag. I thought it would have been Native Village because he needs the plus actions to support all those terminals. But now seeing him go for the Sea Hag, I want to pick up Lighthouses. Unfortunately, they're out of the shuffle for now, but yeah, they'll come back around eventually, right? A Native Village allows me to set aside that curse, so that's a nice little interaction between these Seaside cards, right? Sea Hag affects the top of your deck, Native Village just puts that aside for you immediately, which is nice. I mean, it doesn't get rid of the curse, still counts as -1 for your score, but at least it's not in your deck momentarily, which is always nice. So I'm going to buy another lighthouse here. I want at least 2 or 3, like I said. My opponent is actually going for them a bit more vigorously. He actually picked up an island last turn. I'm not sure what that was about, but he goes for the island. Here I go for another lighthouse and a wharf, and I think that's about all the lighthouses I want. I believe I have 3. That should be sufficient. Now I need to get the draw up, and then I'll see those lighthouses very reliably. So another war for my opponent, and so what the game actually looks like it'll descend into here is a 3 pile, and it won't be on the curses actually. It won't be on the curses, it'll be on the lighthouses because my opponent is pressing those, the wharves and the native villages because he needs native villages to make the engine work. So I presume he'll go for them at some point. He hasn't been going for them so aggressively or at all. Here again, look, picking up the last 2 lighthouses there over like Lighthouse Native Village, for example. So that pile is empty, and I don't think the curses will run. Um, instead the wharves and the native villages will run, I believe, because even if he doesn't want the native villages, I want them. I definitely want to get my engine up and running. So I take on 3 curses here, which is obviously not good. Obviously not good, right? So I am at a point disadvantage, especially after the island buy from my opponent. So he is at 5, I'm at 0 right now, and we are fast approaching our 3 pile, so that actually could become significant. Hopefully I'm able to put a curse in my opponent here. He doesn't have a lighthouse, so I was thinking I would be able to jam one in him, or jam one in his deck, but I would rather play the 2 wolves, to be honest. I would rather play the 2 wolves than to play just 1 wolf and a sea hag, or in this case 3 wolves. 3 wolves. How can you pass up playing 3 wolves? There's no way you could pass up playing 3 wolves. 6 with the 3 pile in mind, still going to pick up the wolf here. I need the draw, right? I have 3 junk in my deck. I would really like the draw to get things rolling here. And I don't think my opponent will rush the native villages. 5 points is not that big of a lead. I believe like he might try to build a little more, maybe like put some money in his deck. But actually he goes for the native village pile here. You'll see this is a couple of native villages, and I don't like it. Personally, I don't like when I'm being rushed in Dominion. Like for some of my opponent is forcing a pile out, but also I don't think that's the best way to proceed here. Like I said, 5 points I don't think is enough points to make that play, right? I'm able to actually find enough money here to come up with province, and suddenly I'm in the points lead now, and there's only 3 native villages left. So, you know, by him making that play, now he's put himself into an uncomfortable position. This is a good turn for him. He gets a lot of lighthouses, followed by a wharf. So next turn he'll have the plus buy and a lot of money. 6 here. He could go for duchy, for example, and I believe that's what he goes for. No, actually he goes for island and estate. Yeah, island and estate, not the native village. So now he doesn't want the piles to run, right? So he this is why I didn't think it was the sound move to make at that point. And hopefully if the deck plays nicely, it has to play nicely for this to work, I can take advantage of him running the piles for me and finish the game on a win. So I am going to just set aside a couple things for the native village. The native villagers have been very kind to me this game. They set aside 1 wharf, but I was able to pick it up immediately. And actually with 11 and 6 buys, I do have the winning hand. So picking up the duchy lets me go 1 point in front and still have enough money for the last 3 native villages. So the seaside set was actually very quick. A brisk 3 pile on the wharves, the native village, and the lighthouses. So yeah, that often happens, right? When you have wharves and native village, that those piles evaporate very quickly, and then you could be suddenly faced with a 3 pile because of the buys from the wharf and the estates being at only 8 instead of 10. Anyways, game 4. Thanks for watching.